So here's my medical story, which keeps getting more complicated, but on I'll tell you how it started. On December 13th, I felt like I had a UTI, so I went to the lab and dropped a pee sample. And 3 days later, it came back as a drug-resistant form of bacteria. There were some drugs that it was sensitive to, so I shouldn't say that it's completely resistant because it was one of the drugs that it was sensitive to was macrobid, and but it was a pretty bad infection. So my urologist prescribed 200 milligrams of macrobid in the morning and 200 milligrams of macrobid in the evening. On the third day, I was feeling sicker than I was on the first day, of taking macrobid. So, I was sick. We're talking 102 fever, vomiting, couldn't get out of bed, not very alert. So I went to the ER. And they dismissed me. And they said, well, you have this UTI and you're on the right medication for it. So tell us again why you're here. And I said, well, I'm getting worse, not better. They gave me some fluids and sent me home. I was dehydrated. I couldn't eat anything because of the vomiting. And they prescribed Reglan, because I was taking Zofran, and Zofran didn't touch the nausea. A couple of more days goes by, and I'm feeling worse. My fever's going higher, I'm vomiting more, can't get out of bed, etc., etc. And so what do? I go back to the ER. And what do they say? Why are you here? And I said, because my urologist told me to come in, because she did. I was messaging her through the patient portal this whole time. And they said, well, we don't understand why you're here because you have this bacteria and you're on the right antibiotic for it. So there's not much more that we can do for you. So they sent me home sick as hell. A second time after being on these antibiotics for a long time. And then I was not getting any better, and I was messaging my urologist through the portal, and she said, you need to go to the ER again, which I did. And what was happening with me is that my fever would build as the day went on. So I might wake up with a, 99 fever or 98.9, which is actually high for me. And then it would just keep getting higher as the day went on. And so I actually went back to the ER a third time because my urologist told me to. And I got there early in the morning. And once again, they asked me, well, what are you doing here again? We've seen that this is the third time you're here. You have this infection, you're on the right antibiotic for it, blah, blah, blah. But by that time, I had gone to urgent care in between my second ER visit and the one that I'm talking about right now. And the reason why I did that was because my urologist told me to go and get tested for the flus and COVID. So I did. I got all those tests and they were all negative. And then the urgent care decided to do another urine culture, which they did. And I brought the results with me the third time I went to the ER. And the one thing that was different with my culture results was that basically it said macrobid was not enough to get rid of the urinary tract infection, and I should be on a combination of macrobid plus fosfomycin. Now, fosfomycin is this bizarre antibiotic that nobody's ever heard of. And when I get to the ER, the doctor looks at the culture results and he's like, well, I don't know what this is. And I said, well, I don't either, meaning the fosfomycin. So I told the doctor, why don't you call infectious disease if you don't know what it is? Because I don't know what it is. And I should also mention on that visit, they had me pee in a cup, and they did do another urinalysis and a culture, but I didn't get the results for 3 days. And the other problem is that they did call infectious disease, and they did prescribe the fosfomycin. It's weird. It comes in packets. It looks like Crystal Light. You dump it in water, you stir it up, you drink it, and then you wait a day, and you go without it, and then you take it again the next day. And then you wait a day and take it again. But what happened is it took like 5 days for me to get this fosfomycin from the pharmacy because nobody carries it, okay? And in that time frame, I got the results back from my urinary culture from the 3rd ER visit, and I noticed that my urinalysis and culture was negative for bacteria. So I'm having a hell of a time trying to get the fosfomycin. Meanwhile, I'm still not feeling well because, I don't know. I mean, I had been sick for so long, I just felt terrible still. So ultimately, we rustled up the fosfomycin, and I called my urologist to ask, should I even take this if my my most recent culture result from the 3rd ER visit is negative? And she said yes. And keep taking whatever macrobid is left. And I think I'm going to have to do another video because this is getting too long.